Appeared on the Bob Does Sports YouTube golf show recently and had some comments about the NBA in Memphis that made waves online. Listen to this.
At 41 years old, you think I want to do that? Being in Memphis on a random Thursday? I'm not like the first guy to even talk about it in the NBA. Like, we all like, you guys have to move. Just go over to Nashville.
All right. So the joke was made. I don't think LeBron's going to be appearing on the Grizzlies anytime soon. But are these LeBron comments about Memphis fair or foul, Stephen A?
They can be both. And I think it's important to mention that. I made noise last year because I talked about the city of Memphis that riled some folks up because they've had some issues. Mayor Paul Young, I think, has done an outstanding job because they've had issues with their crime rate, certainly still have issues with their poverty rate. Just look at where they rank in the national rankings, and that's certainly a subject to be debated, but he's definitely got them steered in the right direction, and I applaud him. In the same breath, when you're looking at the Memphis Grizzlies, also look at what Desmond Bain said about their facilities. And he wasn't talking about FedEx Forum because we all know that's a nice arena, but he was talking about their practice facilities and what have you when he got traded to the Orlando Magic and how being there was a breath of fresh air, that place was like a dungeon, et cetera, even though obviously he loves the city, he loves their tremendous fans, he loves the people. And so when LeBron James says something like that, I think that we get where he's coming from. As a player in Cleveland and then ultimately Miami, back to Cleveland and then L.A., he's been around and he knows a thing or two. He knows what he's heard about what Memphis has to offer as it pertains to its basketball teams and its facilities in comparison to other NBA teams. That's a story for another day that we don't have time to get into. Where it does become a bit foul is the fact that it's coming out of LeBron James' mouth, because it's a large black population in that city. And you need that team there, obviously, to assist in fueling the economy, because a lot of things about them are not, a lot of things about the city needs to improve. And we get that. There's some wonderful people there. And there's people there that's us. It looks like us, that are us. And they need our assistance. They need our support in every way, shape, form, and fashion. Nashville is definitely a thriving city. Nobody will deny that. And LeBron is not the first person to point out that Nashville is probably more equipped to have an NBA team than some would say Memphis is. But we know how detrimental it would be if Memphis lost that team, and that's something to be taken into consideration as opposed to speaking flippantly about it on a damn golf course. Not to mention the fact that LeBron was just months removed from promoting the city. I forget whether it was with his sneakers or something else, where it was commemorating Martin Luther King and civil rights and black history just months ago. And that's not consistent with the verbiage that was caught out of his mouth on a damn golf course. So I would say both things can be true here in terms of that question, Shay.
Kirk?
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's all the way out of bounds. I had an opportunity to actually meet Mayor Paul Young because I was down there 3 weeks ago because your boy Stone had a basketball tournament, and they rolled the red carpet out for me. I stayed at the Hilton Hotel, nice cozy beds, rubbed my feet together and got some great rest. Now, I will say this, does Memphis rank at the bottom when it comes to NBA standard hotels? When you think about the Ritz-Carlton and Four Seasons, the Post Oak, Beverly Wilshire hotels like that, absolutely. But when LeBron comments and says they should just move to Nashville, Stephen A., you just highlighted, they got a lot of black people that are pissed off at those comments because it's 60 to 70% black people in Memphis right now in the inner city that look up, and the only hope that they have, the only hope that they have comes from having a professional team like the Memphis Grizzlies. And so when you think about when players are commenting and saying relocate and take their only hope away, and Mayor Paul Young is trying to uplift this city and trying to bring back that think about this. We talk about the practice facilities. Well, why all these damn billion-dollar tech companies moving to Memphis? They got a lot of money down there. They could help out and upgrade the practice facilities. The owner is not broke. He's one of the richest people in America. They could upgrade that. But here's another point I want to highlight to you, Shay, about old King James, LeBron James. Doesn't he have a I Promise school?
Yeah.
In the city
In
that
Ohio.
he grew up in Akron, Ohio, right? Because of the inner city kids, he want to give them hope, give them opportunity to be great in life. What if somebody told him to relocate that school and go somewhere else? How would he feel about it? See, this is what I'm saying. Like, what? Well, what?
Well, that's why I said both. It can be both, because on one hand, it's fair what he said about Memphis, meaning their facilities, talking about the team, but it's foul what he said about Nashville.
But he was talking about.
In other words, Memphis relocating to Nashville.
He was talking. Yeah, but he's talking about the hotels. And listen, what I'm saying is, it's nothing. I mean, I stayed at the Hyatt. I didn't stay at the Westin. All I'm saying is, it's not to NBA standard, but it's not just like it's just the worst thing in the world. But all I'm saying, he's all the way foul. And I don't think when he says things like this while he's playing with his rich friends on the golf course, that he's not actually thinking about the black community at that point.
He's not thinking. He certainly wasn't thinking about the black community on that golf course that moment. That's for sure.
Well, maybe his comments will raise some eyebrows, and maybe they will invest a little more.
Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, the way that they're playing, Jason Tatum, what he has done, winning Eastern Conference Player of the Week last week, how he's been playing, how he looked against the Hornets without Jaylen Brown, how he took a step back to Jaylen Brown when he returned, when they just played in Miami, and he still had a triple-double. So when I think about it, in the way teams are peaking and looking right now, one, Stephen A., you're right. You got to get buckets, but you know the saying, defense go win you championships. And when I look at the Spurs, OKC, and Boston, all of those teams are defending their asses off, and all of those teams are top 5 defensively.
We both made a mistake. Perk. You did your top 5 list, right? They asked the question, how many teams can legitimately win an NBA title? I said 8. And we basically talked about the core 4. We both had brain fog with this, in my opinion. How do you leave out the Detroit Pistons? You can't leave out the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference who can defend, and once Cade Cunningham comes back, would be formidable as well. And the road to the finals has to come through Detroit in all likelihood, who even without Cade Cunningham has managed to hold off the Boston Celtics for the number 1 seed in the East. We can't forget the Detroit Pistons. I just had brain fog. That's my bad. They should have been mentioned as well.
No, but here's the thing, right? And I think it's 2 separate conversations. Like, we could have a conversation of who's a legit threat to come out of the Eastern Conference. And we could say, yeah, Detroit, Cleveland, absolutely, they got a chance of coming out of the Eastern Conference. But when they get to the promised land, they're not going to complete the mission. But, yeah, they have a legit chance of coming out of the conference. I think that's 2 different conversations. But, again, when I look at this top 3 right here, I think I for sure got the top 3 right. I mean, I think the list wasn't bad at all, but those top 3 teams that's on there, the Spurs,